Trey Tuck is here in the building.
Hello, everybody.
What do y'all know about that? Okay. So finally we got Trey Tuck in the building.
Yes.
What's good? How you feeling?
I'm chilling. I feel good. Happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? With the mystery herself.
I love it. I'm happy to have you here.
Yeah.
Yes, we out here. It's a little warm in the atmosphere today.
Yes.
The atmospherics are
This one of them days you want to just drink water.
Yeah, you gotta hydrate, man. I feel like I've not been doing that the way I should.
I've been dehydrated.
So if I pass out during this interview,
same.
just throw some water on me, guys. Yeah. But anyway, let's talk about you, Trey. You know what I mean? Let's get to you. That's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
That's what you're here for.
I'm kind of interviewing you too. You know what I'm saying?
Trey's trying to figure out who I am, guys.
I'm going to.
I don't know. He tripping out here, but we'll see. But in the meantime, you are Trey Tuck out of Bristol, Connecticut. You were telling me.
Yes.
And so thank you for making the drive down to our side of town.
Of course.
And so we just played Ruin the Party. I really like that joint.
Thank you.
That's a hard joint right there.
Thank you.
And then, but that is not your most recent release. I think you just released something else, right? Another single? Or am I making that up in my brain?
Well, yeah.
Is that your most recent release?
No. No.
Okay.
No. My most recent release was like I did a whole bunch of freestyles, but
maybe that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, but those I didn't put them on streaming services or anything. So the most recent release I probably would say is everything off of that project.
Okay.
Off of that Price of Fame. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and that was Price of Fame was your most recent project. I think you dropped it last year.
Yeah, November. November.
9th, so the bottom of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Dope project.
Thank you.
And the title Price of Fame. I like where you're going with it.
Yeah.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about Price of Fame and what you wanted to get across to people with that?
Yeah, for sure. The message I wanted to get across with it was just kind of, I think when you're young and you're trying to create, something bigger than yourself, like all artists, creators, they want it to be big.
Yeah.
You always come to like a compromising point in your life where you got to kind of choose, like, do I do this? It's not morally right, but it might get me in a better position.
Right.
So should I take that step? That was kind of like the whole theme of the whole project was like in the midst of me trying to figure myself out and figure out where I can be in this hip hop community in the I was gonna say the universe, but like you know what I'm saying? Like in the US in Connecticut, regionally, I was trying to figure out where do I fit and what do I have to do to make sure my music gets across, but the message isn't watered down. The message isn't something that I don't believe in myself. So I'm big on moral integrity. So that's kind of the point of the whole project, because I was battling a lot of things. Like I was on tour with KRS-One and the Temple of Hip Hop, and I came back and I was like, okay, I have all this information, but how do I apply it to where I'm at now and the type of artist I am? Taking some of those elements and making sure I wasn't doing things that were out of my element and out of my character to make sure people heard my music. Right. So that's one of the things that I wanted to get across with the project. And I think it did it pretty well with the message and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's an important message.
Yeah.
That is something that I think every artist struggles with. Where do they fit in and not losing yourself. And yeah, man, the Price of Fame. I mean, it's the perfect title for that. You know what I mean? So it's dope to have something to say.
Yeah.
And still stay true to yourself.
For sure.
So yeah, that's on all streaming platforms, right? Price of Fame.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure you check that out, guys. And Ruin the Party's on that?
Ruin the Party's like the third or fourth song.
Okay.
That song is actually dope because that was one of those songs that it took like, I want to say like 7-8 different like mixes and like different restructuring of the song to make it feel better.
Yeah.
Me and a couple other engineers did it like 7-8 times. Like like that's why I'm happy that people like it the way they do, because it was literally like the song was done in 2 months, but it took like 4 to make sure everything was good.
Make sure it was just right.
Yeah.
And you definitely did get it just right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely, you hit, it hits.
Yeah.
It hits how it needs to hit. Because I remember the first time I heard that, I was like, oh, this is fire. This is okay. And then you got a visual to that too, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. So, which is also, it's a dope vibe, visual feeling. Like it just has a feel.
Feels good.
Yeah,
Feels
yeah,
good.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, hard to describe, but most art is kind of hard to describe. So that's what the latest thing you got going on. And then you're also doing like a little tour, right?
Yeah.
You're still kind of in the middle of that tour,
Yeah, pretty
right?
much. I probably got I got 3 more. I'm going to Brooklyn on the 26th.
Okay.
And then I have a show we're putting together. Trust Productions is putting a show together on the 28th in Bristol. And then August 22nd, I have something else August 17th, but I don't know how concrete it is yet. But something August 22nd, I'm supposed to go to Alabama and do a show out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're getting around a little bit.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to get out here, you know?
That's smart, though. I mean, that's, I feel like a lot of artists kind of forget sometimes. They'll get so stuck in the studio or whatever that they kind of forget, like, the importance of really, like, in real life, face-to-face, connecting with your fans.
I mean,
and that's how you make the
huge.
lifelong fans, dude. When they see you and you're there, you know, and they make that connection with you, those are the ones that usually stick with you.
Yeah, they stick.
Yeah.
That's essentially why I was so happy with Price of Fame, because I knew when I made it, I could take it and I can perform it. And I knew that, like, every time I perform it, people are gonna feel something with it.
Yeah.
It wasn't compromised, so I can have like a lot of streams and the internet could love it, but if I perform it, you won't feel nothing out of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the most important thing for me, is like face-to-face interaction is what I'm best with. I can talk to people. I love, you know, hearing what people have to say, especially if they're critiquing me on my music. It's harder to do it on the internet. So traveling while you tour, while you do shows, staying after the shows to meet people, networking, you know what I'm saying? That's like the best. I love that.
That's
like,
fire.
How did you get on that first tour with KRS-One? How
So-
did that come about?
So it's a long story short. My friend, he put me on to this dude. His name was Sun One, and he was a DJ, and I didn't know him at the time. So he ended up coming down to my studio because he needed a place to record. So in the midst of all that, he's recording. And he's talking to me. Me and him have conversations, and every time he talks, he's like mentioning like KRS-One, and I'm like, yeah, this dude really loves.
You talking about KRS-One?
Yeah, like this dude. He's like, but he's like mentioning him indirectly.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm not paying no attention to it, and he's he's just like, yeah, KRS-One got KRS-One snippets, and then all of a sudden, because me and him got really cool, and I would consider him a mentor now.
Right.
So after a while, he called me. I was going to work. I was working at Amazon, and he was like, yo, you want to go on this little 4-city tour with KRS-One? I said, what? I said, yeah. So I did that. I left my job. I went to Atlanta, Miami, North Carolina, Virginia, came back. And then when we came back, there was talks like, okay, we're going to do the longer tour, which was 3 months. So I came back, and then maybe like a couple weeks after, someone called me. He was like, yeah, we're going on tour. You need to pack your bags up and everything like that. So I was like, man, I had like maybe 4 days in between to let my job know, and then the time window started. It was like, no, you got to be here this day. So then I lost the day. Then it was like I had to make a decision: do I go or do I stay at work? And I was like, man, I'm out.
Yo, I was gonna say, I hope you went, man. Well, you obviously did, because
I was gone.
Yeah, but
and then we went to Jersey, and then or Atlanta. Then we went to Jersey. Then we went all across the U.S.
Dope. That's
Especially
so
with him,
dope, man.
Like, I don't know, you younger listeners out there, if y'all don't know who that is,
That's the GOAT.
Dust off your parents' albums.
Yeah.
Go check out. KRS-One is the lyrical king of all time, if you ask me.
Yeah.
He started it all, like being that just intricate.
He's
and
dope.
The way he articulates everything. And in person, I've seen interviews with him. He's the same. It's crazy.
That and I'm glad you said that, because at first, because I studied him growing up too, along with other artists. But when I first met him, I was like, and then after a while I got to know him, I was like, yo, he's the same dude that I see in all these videos. Like off camera, he's the same person.
That's so crazy.
It doesn't switch.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot from just listening to what he was saying and listening to other members of the Temple of Hip Hop. Not just him. Everybody around him had wisdom. It was like, yo, there's so much that you can learn from this. And I'm so grateful, because it changed my perspective. Like,
for sure. You know, it's nice to hear someone in our generation, younger artists respecting the OGs. I mean, with music now, there are a lot of younger artists who are like, I don't need to know or care about, these people.
Right.
So it's really important, and it's dope to respect and get that perspective, because I feel like it makes you a better artist.
For sure.
Just you have your perspective, you could have the younger perspective and then the older perspective, and then just imagine what you can do with all that information to put into your music.
Especially with the case of him, like KRS-One is at this point, I would call him 2 generations removed from where we're at now, because that's who like Jay-Z and Eminem and J. Cole, people like that were listening to,
right?
Because KRS is like early 90s. And
even before that, bro,
he was like late. I mean, that's where he peaked, in my opinion. That's where it all peaked up for him. But like, he's like early, the beginning of hip hop. He was part of that transition of like old school hip hop into modern hip hop is what it became. But him especially, I'm a huge fan just because like I listen to rock bands that emulate him.
Wow.
Like I listen to like different like bands that like he is the god to me, one of the Godfather's pillars. So
he is.
You ask people our age and a little bit younger, and they wouldn't have a clue who he is, and it blows my mind.
But I think that helps with longevity too, like in music, because like you have to know, and anything you do, you have to know history,
right?
And you can't just get on and be like, I don't care. No, you have to know, whether that's like you're an architect, you got to know who came before you, who helped pave the way. If you know that, then that helps you, and there's things that you can learn. You know what I'm saying? Learn what you can take and learn what you don't need to take from it. You know what I'm saying?
Learn from their mistakes or learn from their success. That's or
That's
dope,
man.
Yeah, so
you have to study.
You're doing well for yourself out here, Trey.
Career,
I was just gonna say, like you're not doing too shabby.
Thank you.
But getting with that, how long have you been out here doing this music thing?
So officially, I probably would say 6 to 7 years.
Okay, solid.
Solid. So when I was in college, I went to 2 schools. My first school, I was like 17 when I started rapping, and it was like in dorm rooms, and you drink, you do whatever, and you start freestyling. So for the first like 2-3 years of that, it was pretty much that, and I didn't take it so serious until I moved back to Connecticut. Right. And then once I moved back to Connecticut, I was like, okay. I linked up my uncle, and we started recording. We started learning how to engineer, all that stuff. We kind of built it. So it took a little bit longer because I wasn't taking shortcuts. Like
that's important though. I mean, it'll take you longer to get there, but when you're there, you won't have to stop and figure it out. You're good. You're ready.
Plus, it's better to be able to put yourself in the driver's seat completely. Instead of have someone be like, this is
or
how
at
you do
least
it.
know enough to tell whoever it is, the engineer or the producer, like, hey, I want you to do this. And you know what you're saying, So that's dope.
That's what I tell everybody too, like that I meet and they ask for my advice, because I'm humble, so people ask for my advice. I'm like, I'm gonna tell you everything I know, but I tell them like, yo, you should try to learn as much as you possibly can, so A, you don't get screwed over, and B, you can speak to engineers, DJs, etc. without offending, like knowing the code of honor, you know what I'm saying? And in doing that, and you have to learn it. You don't have to do it. Like I know a lot of things that I'm like, man, I don't want to do that at all. But
it's
good to know.
Just to know, even if you don't do it yourself.
For sure.
Yeah, just to know. So that's all facts, man. Y'all, Trey's dropping gems. Y'all should really.
Thank you for coming to Trey Talks TED Talk.
Yes, yo, facts though.
I appreciate you. Because
that is so key. That is so key.
For real, it's totally important. Like I have a few. I mean, doing what we do, there's a ton of young artists like, oh, how do I do? What do we do this? And for me, that's what I tell everybody. Like, I mean, just because that's how I kind of did it. The more you know about it, the less you could get side blinded. That's the most important piece.
For sure.
You can't be shocked like, oh, what the hell just happened?
It takes longer though, and I think that's where like the generation of now is like, I want everything now.
Yes, they want it now. I mean, that's the world we live in. It's now. If something takes longer than 10 seconds, you're scrolling past it. You don't want to see it. You don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, that's like the one thing I try and say is like, you'll get it if you want it now, but it's only gonna last as long as you like try to put into it.
Right.
So if you want it now and forever, you got to put some serious time and background into it. So
all the greatest artists and everybody have a a long list of what they had to do to get there. Like even like DJ Khaled, like people don't really understand.
Everyone
you know
says that about him.
People don't understand. They think he's just like a clown or whatever this personality. But but I remember like going like now that I had to think about it, I was like, yo, he was in every like Terror Squad video. Like he was putting in work. He was around. He was putting in work. When he was Slim Khaled.
Yeah.
So. Lil Wayne used to talk. Lil Wayne used to said it like recently. I think that like. He remembers him walking into like clubs he was at and just constantly trying to hand him demos, and like DJ Khaled would play everybody's music. He would play strip clubs like crazy. And back in the day, and he would play everybody's record and most people didn't realize like that's the like if you heard a DJ Khaled like 10 years, 15 years ago in the city somewhere in like Long Island at a strip club, that was DJ Khaled. Like, that was the one. And he put in mad work. Like he really was a DJ. It's not like some name. So
it's a solid foundation.
Yeah, it is. So so it was a family thing. You said you started doing it with your uncle?
Yeah.
And was your like does your family have a background in music, or did you guys kind of learn it together? Like
not necessarily in music. I think we all been around it. Like my uncle was the first person to put me on to like all the older artists. So I had to like really respect it before. But as far as like in music, like engineering, artists, there are some like my cousin, she passed away, but she was God rest her soul. She was a DJ. So it's been like in the blood, but as far as like it being done,
executed,
at least to my knowledge, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of like really ironed it out.
Trey Tuck, the first of his name. Taking it to some Game of Thrones level stuff here now. No, that's fire though, Trey. And you are definitely gaining a momentum. I mean, I started playing you a while back. I think the first time I played you, I mean, I'm bad with timing, but I know it was a little while back.
It was I feel like it was over a year.
For sure. Yeah, we played you on a couple mystery mixes, and the growth, man, just people are just the growth of the momentum. You're getting out there.
Yeah,
you're getting your name out there. You're getting your music out there.
I kind of want to say something about that, like just other people other artists listening. That's a prime example. Like, y'all come on our radars, and we notice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, we don't want to have y'all come up here at, like, too early. And at the same time...
Too early before it's, like...
Right. And at the same time, we want to watch your growth, too. Right. Because it makes the conversation way more interesting.
Yeah. Right. You got more to talk about. Yeah. You got more stories to tell, more advice to give, more music to share with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So... Now we looking at some of y'all. Y'all be up here.
But you've been on our radar
for sure.
Thank you.
And we got you in, Trey.
I appreciate it.
So the music you got going. Do you have any like clothing line or anything else? Any other things you got going on?
So I've been working on merchandise. And I'm terrible because I've been telling people like, yeah, I'm gonna drop this, but then like I don't because I end up like
you got a million and one things to do.
Yeah. But I don't want to say I'm working on a clothing line. I'm trying to work on a brand that is. I was supposed to bring you something. My manager gonna kill me. I didn't even like I forgot to.
Natalie, right?
Yeah, I forgot to bring it. But just working on creating a brand like. So my slogan is workaholics with the E.
Oh yes. So, you're right.
You can't see it on here, but I have wristbands and like the logo is pretty much like a W. With an odometer, and then like the red, there's like the arrows pointing to E, and it's on red, and the letter E, and that was just really to symbolize like a movement. So people who started from just self-motivation and like moving things themselves, they don't really need gas. That's kind of like the whole concept. Like we don't like you guys don't like to do what you do. You don't need somebody else to be cheering you on. Like, come on, you can do it. Like, you wake up every day and you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
And you get it done and you love doing it. So that's more so like the slogan of like where Workaholics was coming from. So I don't want to call it a brand, I don't want to call it a clothing line. We're trying to make it like a brand. So people can walk around with it and you can feel it's relatable to everybody.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not just a music thing. It's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah, no, I respect, I was going to curse by accident, but I respect that.
You got her hyped.
Yeah, no, I respect
about to come out of chair.
But I was. Never though, never. No, I really respect that. That is a really dope concept for a brand, and the meaning,
that's just a good motto.
It's just it is a good thing to live by. I mean, you should do it regardless of people cheering you on or not. You know what I mean? Sure. It should be what you want to do with that or without that. I mean, so I love that. Yeah.
From a creative aspect, or like from a creative chair, sometimes your tank is empty anyways, and you still gotta do it. So
you have no
that
choice.
Makes a lot of sense to creatives.
Yeah, man.
This tank's empty, but I'm gonna keep going.
Cause I feel like even like artistry and like what a lot of artists don't understand too is like when you're writing, a lot of times it's just you and yourself, and it's by yourself. Right. So you don't have like I don't perform with people on stage with me jumping around. My personal preference, because when I do the music and I'm writing it, most of the times it's by myself.
Right.
It's like coming from a place where I have to grab and I have to dig. So when I'm on stage, it's like I'm grabbing, I'm digging. Doesn't matter. I mean, doesn't mean I don't want people on the stage, but it's like I want you guys to really all understand that this came from nothing. Yeah, it came from here. The people, like the people around me, they love me, they help, but like I had to do it when I didn't have the energy to do it. I was tired. I was sleepy. I was falling, you know.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I think a lot of artists the misconception, I don't want to say don't understand, but it's like you have to understand like they're like your homies ain't always going to be there for you in the studio, nor do they want to sit around and hear a beat loop for 2-3 hours, you know what I'm saying?
Over and over.
You have to go through that. You have to really want to feel that and embrace it. And like Charles right here, we'll be in the studio and he'll be in the back room for like 4 hours playing the same beat.
Yeah.
And he's not leaving.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of stuff that people have to understand as an artist you have to do.
Oh yeah.
So when you hit the stage, you're working. How hard are you working? That's you. Yeah.
So, that's all you.
Yeah. Plus, you get used to having all your boys on the big stages. So you can't have nobody on your stage.
Yeah.
Performing up there alone, the Grammys, BET, you ain't
gonna
have
you ain't gonna have them people jumping around behind you. Yeah.
They'll be like, "That's your act.
Yeah.
Go home.
Yeah.
We came to see you.
Exactly.
Not, go on the show, please.
Nah. So that's a whole vibe. You a whole vibe, Trey.
Yeah. I like his knowledge.
I like the way you think and
thank you.
Think about this.
This is part 1 of 17.
This is part 1 of the 17 of Trey TED Talks. Yeah. I mean, you gave us a lot. You gave us a lot of knowledge. You dropped a lot of gems.
Yeah.
Anything that I did not touch on about you that you want to make sure people know, your fans, the audience?
The only thing I'd want people to know is just I would just say pay attention to the movement that's going on and like understand that it's authentic.
Yeah.
And like everything that we are doing is coming from us trial and error.
Yeah.
Like there's no shortcuts within any of that. And I'm sure, we addressed it, but I want people to understand, like people ask me so much for advice and I don't know everything. So I'm consistently learning and I'm consistently trying to get in these spaces where I'm meeting people who are very helpful to my career. So
smart.
Just knowing that, and I appreciate you guys even for having me on here.
Oh, of course. And I think that you will be very successful, Trey.
Thank you.
I feel it.
I pray
feel
for
it in my bones. I mean, you're going about it the right way.
Thank you.
I will say that. So before we get out of here, we're gonna play Ruin the Party again. Because that's what we do. We want to run here. Yes, we're gonna run that back. But before we do that, I want to make sure people know where they can find you. So just shout out your social medias if you got a website, anything like that. Let them know.
Well, you can find me at Trey Tuck, Instagram Trey Tuck, TREY_TUCK_. Same thing for Twitter.
Okay.
I have a website. It's called TreyTuck.com.
Nice and easy.
And we got a show. I'm gonna plug my show.
All right, of course. Plug anything you want to plug, man. This is your time.
Got a show in Bristol, Connecticut, July 28th from 7 to 11. The information is all on my page and everything like that.
Boom. Heard that.
There it is.
Next week, people.
Check him out, guys. Check him out. He's fire. And with that said, ruin the party.
Hey.
That's it. Let's do it. Trey Tuck.
You made me this way. Get the f out of my face. Yeah. Stay humble, they say. I ain't been sleeping in days. Yeah.